All right, this is Whiskey 7 Alpha Zulu Charlie. We're looking for early check-ins for Teapot PU's Tech Friday Net. We got a little less than 5 minutes. We're looking for those check-ins. Please come now. All right, last call for those check-ins before we get started. This is W7AZC looking for early check-ins. Please come now. KD2 PNR. All right, Al, I got you on the list. Any others before I start here?
K1HF.
All right, KD1HF. Good evening. I have you on the list, and good evening, everyone, and welcome to Teapot and PU's Tech Friday Net. My name is Sean. The call sign is W7AZC, and I'll be your net control this evening. Tonight I am at home in Yuma, Arizona. Before we get started, I would like to send it off to Dennis, K4PU, to start us off with the pledge tonight. Go ahead, take it away, Dennis. This is W7AZC.
W7AZC and the net, K4PU. Tonight's pledge is dedicated to those who have gone the extra mile to help their neighbors during this COVID-19 crisis. People like the restaurant owner who has donated hundreds of meals to first responders, medical personnel, and local food banks. People like Pat Stump, who at age 80 has made and donated over 300 masks to people in my little neighborhood alone. And she'd asked for nothing in return. People like the police officer in Newton, Georgia, who pulled drivers over not to give them a ticket, but to give all the occupants of the vehicle a mask. With so much news about people who, thinking only of themselves, are buying and hoarding food, toilet paper, and other essentials, it's refreshing to know that there are many others who, through their efforts and generosity, have helped ease the burden of those who can't stand in the long lines to get a single roll of toilet paper or 1 pound of ground beef. So it is to the people in our communities whose selfless acts benefit us all that we dedicate tonight's pledge. Would you please stand? Please remove any non-religious headgear. Place your right hand over your heart, and if there's a flag nearby, please face it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May God bless all those who are giving their time, effort, and money, and may God bless the United States. Back to you, Sean, W7AZC, K4PU.
At K4PU, W7AZC, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And let's see. I just lost my place here. This net, and this room is supported by Friends of Amateur Radio Group and its members. You can check them out at farg.club. This is Directive Net, and all communications will come through Net Control. I ask that you wait till Net Control asks for additional check-ins. Please do not key or break between stations. Please allow 4 to 5 seconds between key-ups. This allows the system to reset. This net is open to and welcomes all amateur radio operators. Teapot and PU's Tech Friday Net meets every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's 5 p.m. with early check-in starting a half hour prior. We will be moving this net over to our All-Star, QSO America on All-Star. And so we'll hope we'll hear you guys over there. I believe this is our last week over here, but we will keep making announcements. You can see the different ways to get into All-Star. You can either come in through All-Star at 506-450 or through Echolink, W7AZC-L or KD9JSX-L. And you can also come in through Brandmeister, Talk Group 313-5550. So, with that, let's see where I'm at. So, we are using NetLogger tonight. If you don't have NetLogger, you can download for free. Also, if you don't have NetLogger, you can head over to YouTube and look up let's see, Ham Radio Zone, I believe it is. And Adam there has a live feed of this net, so you can check that out. And if you are on NetLogger, there is, if you go to the AIM window, there is a link there that you can actually go over and watch it on YouTube. Let me reset. All right, so at this time, I am going to read the list, and then I'll ask for additional check-ins. Currently, I have K4PU Dennis. Dennis, it will go to Craig, AC4M. Craig, you'll pass it over to N4NT, Adam. Adam, please pass it over to Gary, N7DND. Gary, please pass it up to your neighbor there, Bill, N7BRB. Bill, you'll pass it over to Robert, K7PE. Robert, please pass it over to Jim, WA4RX. Jim, you'll pass it over to Carl, I guess a close neighbor of mine here in Yuma, K7, Victor Bravo Golf. Carl, you'll pass it over to Al, KD2, PNR. Al, you'll pass that over to Mike, KD1HF. And Mike, right now you are tail gunner, but let's see if we have any additional check-ins. Please come now. All right, this is W7AZC with Teapot PU Tech Friday Net, and nothing heard. So tonight, let's see. First of all, got the little Zygu G90 sitting here with the buddy pole up in the air right now. I did get New Zealand last night on 20 watts, so I was happy about that. Had a little QSO with the gentleman there. And which brings up tonight's topic, alternative power. As you guys know, that Dennis and myself, K4PU, we are building Go boxes, and we are using these high-powered LiPo batteries that came from a prototype electric bus. They're rated at 8 amp hours, and 200 amp discharge. They do quite a bit more than that. They'll actually get around 9 amp hours, and on a dead short, they'll put pretty darn close to 400 amps and pretty much melt anything that's connected to. So right now, that's what we're working on for alternative power sources. It is going to have a charging system that should allow us to actually hook up solar panels to it and be able to charge that way also. So I just get curious. Tonight will be more of a question night of what you're using or have available for alternative powers, solar panel, batteries, generators, whatever the case may be, and how it's working for you, or of course any projects you may be working on and want to share with us. And if you have any links or anything like that on any projects, we'll get those posted up on the Facebook page. So with that, no further ado, I will pass it over to Mr. K4PU. What are you up to today? This is W7ACC.
Well, that was perfect timing. W7AZT, K4PU. Well, a lot going on. I've been at the cabin since Tuesday, and the XYL was kind enough to drive me up here and drop me off since I still can't drive, but that's not too far in the future. I think 3 more weeks, and I'll have my freedom back. So what I got done and what I'm still working on kind of finishing up is I got the coax for the new 17-element Yagi into the shack and connected. I got the antennas for the police scanners, the antenna for the SDR, and the loop antenna installed in the coax run. I've got most of the satellite antennas wired up and ready to go. And I got the IC718 put in the server rack. In addition to that, I continue to work on the Go box. Most of the components for the main box itself will be here in the next 2 or 3 days. Some of them have already arrived, and including boxes for the battery cells and digital voltmeters for each cell and digital ammeter for the whole system. As Sean said, we're building Go boxes, but we're building separate power boxes. We're putting the power supplies all in a different box instead of trying to cram them all in with the radios. I also took down my solar panel that I had up at my gate that I hadn't used in 3 years and cleaned it up and tested it out, and it's putting out about 13 volts. So I'm going to use that to help charge up the system as well. So a lot going on with the power supplies in the boxes. And by the way, everything here, including the repeater, let me reset. Everything here, including the repeater, has a backup battery source or uninterrupted power supply. Plus, I have a whole house standby generator that kicks on should we lose power. So we've got all kinds of ways to power things here. But looking forward to getting these batteries put in the box and getting them charged up and tested out and matched and all the other things you have to do to LiPo batteries. And with that, I'll turn it over to Craig, AC4M. Take it away, sir. It's your turn.
Thank you very much. This is AC4M. Well, kind of sad to say I don't really have any alternative power at all right now. I did have a battery. It was high amperage, but I let that thing sit for over a year, and that thing just swelled up on me. I used that thing on mountaintops a lot, very lightweight and all that. But I've been thinking about alternative power. I was looking at some generators the other day. I do need to buy me a generator. But that's all I have. I just turned over to Mr. Adam in 4NT. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, thank you, Craig. Yeah, I'm kind of like him. I don't have any alternative power to speak of. I've got some things I could do if need be. My shack is located right next to my carport, and worst case scenario, I've got cables and anything else I need that I could run power that way, and still got a open air system. I could run a vehicle for a while just to recharge it, but mostly what I would have would be the batteries on HTs, that kind of thing. Chances are, if we have some kind of catastrophic event where we lose power around town, the chances are I'm going to be called in to work if I'm not working already to kind of assist with everything that comes with it. But speaking of that, though, I will mention along the lines of the pledge dedication earlier, just a few things how good the community here in Bristol has been. I pull into there for a while. We were strictly having to use drive-thrus for restaurants and that kind of thing, and I pull into a drive-thru in my work vehicle, in my cruiser, and I could probably count on one hand how many times I've actually had to pay for a meal. Someone in front of me has paid for it. I actually went to a local grocery store the other day. I was on duty, but my wife needed some meals for the kids before she took them over to the babysitter. So I darted into a store real quick and grabbed 3 of those little Lunchable things, get up to the counter, and the lady in front of me had pretty much, she was like, "Hey, I'm paying for that." And of course, I was like, "Hey, you don't have to do that." That kind of thing. She insisted, and I told her, I said, "Well, it's not for me, it's for my family, for my kids." And she's like, "Well, that's important too." So anyway, I just wanted to kind of share those things. People have been real good. Well, even after the Dallas shooting that time, I went into a McDonald's with my wife one day just on my lunch break. I was on duty, and she joined me for lunch. And a gentleman stepped up and paid for our meal and paid for me and her both. So Anyway, we're definitely blessed here in Bristol, Tennessee, and I'm sure a lot of the communities out there are the same way. So as a first responder, to anyone that has ever done that for first responders, I just wanted to throw out a thank you and tell you we greatly appreciate the support of our communities. And I'm about time out, so I'll turn it over to N7D and D. It's N4NT.
N4NP and 7D&D, Gary out here in Utah. Well, it's a beautiful evening here in Utah. It's about 70 degrees, back to 75 degrees. My goodness. Alternative power. My shack is on battery through an inverter. What needs to be AC is through an inverter, and everything else runs on batteries. And I have solar panels on the roof, so it pretty much is self-sufficient as long as the sun stays out. My Go Box has got a battery, a LiPo battery in it. I do like those. The best part about them is the weight. And Dennis and Sean are right to put I think the battery in another box. I have another box with a battery in it, but I know that's it just makes more work and more things to take. But I found that when I go deploy, I grab a box and grab a box and grab a different box, and depending on what I'm going to deploy to do. So I think that's a great idea. Anyway, so I will say I will pass it on over to Katie. Let's see. Whoa, got to get on the right list here. My friend Bill, he's up north. He's N7BRB. Over to you, N7DND.
N7DND, thank you, Mr. Gary, down south. Good evening to the net. Here we're about 67 degrees. Nice. Supposed to be up to upper 70s tomorrow, so it'll be a day to get out and move around. My house is solar powered. I have solar power lights. Solar power this. I got a house hooked up to a 1,000-watt backup generator, so just gotta go out and flip the switch. I can dig it out of the garage, just out there somewhere. But other than that, that's about all I got. So we're gonna get up here and look at the list. We'll be around for second round, so I'll pass over to Bob. K7PE and 7BRB.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First, I want to just thank Dennis. This is my first time on the net, and I'm sorry I also messed up, Sean. If you could tell me, break in when I'm finished here. If you tell me who I'm supposed to send it to, I apologize. I didn't write it down, and I goofed up. But anyway, I want to just thank Dennis for a wonderful preamble. I just really, that touched me. It was really nice of you, Dennis. That was just terrific. That's the best words said in a long, long time. Let's see, my name is Bob, and call sign Kilo 7 Papa Echo. I've been a ham for 65 years, started in 1955, but this new digital thing is completely new to me. I've only been on it about a year now, and I'm still learning a lot. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it. We're at our little winter QTH that we have in Southern California near Palm Springs. It's actually called Desert on Springs. It's a little RV resort, 55 plus. And my wife and I bought a little park model home here approximately 10.5 years ago. So this is where we come for the wintertime. We started off RVing after I retired from our business. And we found this park on one of our RV trips on the way home and fell in love with the people and the place. So that's the reason that we're here. Right now, of course, we're kind of sequestered. Being in California, they're pretty tough as far as having us stay at home. And we're in that age group, 81, so we're in that age group that we need to be careful. As far as the emergency power is concerned, no, I don't have a Go Box, but I tell you what I do up north. I have a 3,000-watt Yamaha generator that we used to use on our RV all the time. And I saw an article in QST here a few years ago that really struck my interest. I've not furthered anything further with it, I shouldn't say. I should say I haven't done anything further with it. But it talks about the advantage of being able to purchase a 5,000 watt AC inverter that you can work off of your 12-volt battery on your car. That's really a thought, because it's a lot less money than going out and buying a generator that you have to feed with gasoline. Of course, you'll be feeding that generator, that inverter, with gasoline also. But the fact is, you can have your engine at an idle or slightly above idle, and it'll provide the generator, will provide or the alternator will provide all the power that needs to keep up with that 5,000 watt inverter, and you have yourself an auxiliary powerhouse. But one thing that must be remembered is you have to have a disconnect to the mains so that it won't feed back into the utility to hurt one of the utility workers. You wouldn't want to do that. Anyway, that's my message here. Thank you very much for allowing me to come in and say hello. It's been a real pleasure to listen to all you gentlemen. So if you could help me out on that, Sean.
I'll make sure I got it here. K7P, Bob. Not a problem. And hopefully you'll make the second round. And it goes to Jim, WA4RX. Go ahead, take it away, Jim. All right, Jim, you got Bob's tail there. Go ahead, take your turn again, Jim. hopefully you still got it in you.
Yeah, well, I wasn't looking, Sean. So I didn't see if I was on the air or not. It shows my call sign on the dashboard, but that doesn't mean anything. Anyway, what I said basically was I use a marine battery, and I have a generator that I use to power most of the house. However, since I'm right now the only ham radio operator in the county that goes down and works the EOC center during emergencies, I don't have time usually to use it because I'm down at the EOC center. So anyway, I'm working on, I'm waiting for Sean and Dennis to get their go boxes set up so I can copy them. I'm letting them get all the bugs out, and then I'll go from there. So without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Carl. K7VBG. This is WA4X. Okay, very good. Thanks, Carl. KD2PNR. Good evening to all. Backup power here. Well, we have some UPS systems, but they're on my computers. There's nothing on the ham radios at this point, but we do have about a 7,000 watt generator that we can tie into the house if everything goes away, and that's sufficient to run most of the house. Uh, Not quite all of it, especially in the summer. Air conditioners really eat into that, but mostly it'll run the whole house, and it certainly would be able to easily run the shack here. So that's kind of what we've got. Not super handy, certainly not instantaneous, but in a pinch it'll work. A couple of other comments real quick here. I certainly agree Dennis does a fantastic job with his pledge preambles and things. It's always interesting, always entertaining, and I always learn something. So thank you, Dennis. You do a phenomenal job. And let's see here. I think that's about it. I'm not exactly sure. Carl, I think no, I'm sorry, not Carl. K7PE. I recognize that call from a ways back. I'm not sure if you were ever on America Rag Chew for a while, but I think I recognize that call, but I can't say why. Anyway, with that, I'm going to send it on up to Norton, Massachusetts. Reminds me my first motorcycle was in Norton 50 years ago. So, Mike, you can take it from here. KD1HF, KD2PNR.
Okay, thank you, Al. And, yep, yeah, I get not seeing well. I'm generated up because I grew up on a farm, so we had alternative power to keep milking the cows and keep the wells going and the silos. We had the big harvest store silos years ago, and in order to feed the animals, we needed to have electricity. So we keep the milk chilled once you get it out of the cows and run the vacuum pump to get it, and so on and so forth. So I've always kind of been a little on top of that. So here on the ranch, the newer home has a 20K standby that pops up instantly, and I have three other portables to run everything else if need be. And they take a switch in the breaker box to be safe, and a little, I think they call it a service plate. But you push the main breaker over, push this little Z plate up, the breaker under it can be turned on, which brings the generated power to the whole circuit board box and shuts off the rest. So I have three of those hooked up for portables, and just to keep wells going and so on. So that's what I do for alternative power. I am going to, although, put together like not a marine battery, but probably a gel cell of some sort, because the repeater will take a battery backup, and I wouldn't mind having that so that it stayed lit, and then probably UPC on the computer that runs the HRI 200. So those things stayed up. They'd probably lose the internet depending on how bad the power was out, but at least the equipment would stay running and not get a shock of the instant shut off. So I was thinking about doing something like that. And yeah, my mom is a mask maker. She's 82, and she's recently moved from one of my houses into an apartment house for 55 and over, and there's a whole bunch of apartments in there. And she's befriended the whole place, and she now has made over 600 masks. She's got a little sewing club going, and she won't take anything for them, but she donates them to whoever she sees without a mask. And even if you have a mask, many of them are Boston Red Sox, New England Patriots, and then pink ones for the girls with flowers and parrots and all this, and polka dots, and about everything you could think of. So Boston Bruins as well. So she wakes up in the morning, starts sewing, goes to bed sewing, probably dreams about sewing. So yeah, we got to appreciate the folks that are doing things like that. So very good. Back up to W7AZC. Great job so far. K81HF.
All right, thank you, Mike, and I'll make sure I'm in here. I got some kind of weird error message pop up on the screen here. I'm like, uh-oh. Oh, well, very good, very good. Well, before I take my turn here, is there any additional check-ins that would like to join us? Please come now.
This is K8UYC, Kilo 8 Uniform Yankee Charlie. Go ahead, Sean.
All right. KAUYC. Good to hear you, Jack. Is there any additional check-ins that would like to join us? All right, nothing heard. How are you doing, Jack? Go ahead and take your turn here before we start the second round. We're just talking about alternative power.
Okay, fine, this is Sean. Yeah. Well, we don't have any alternative power. The only thing we have, okay, is uh, my my wife says I'm powered by gas. Anyway, uh, but that's okay. They were talking about other projects. I am working on a project, okay, to alleviate myself of the timer problem, being long-winded and all that sort of stuff. There's a little uh, Arduino, teeny Arduino thing that gives you a 90-second indication timer, et cetera, et cetera. And we'd like to find out if how Jim's progressing on his big loop. So back to you, Sean. W7AGC, AZC, excuse me. This KUYC.
This is W7AZC. Thanks, Jack. And I've been called worse, but you might be offending some other person with that other call sign. Very good, very good. And I'll check one more time. Any additional check-ins?
Yeah, 37AZC, Kilo Echo 4, Whiskey Mike, Lima, KE4WML, in and out tonight, Sean. I've been listening in and out, but no comment, thanks.
All right, Bradley, I got you on here, and if I can actually type correctly, I will actually get you entered on the list here. Good to hear you, and I have you in and out. All right, so with that, let's see if I can, oh, come on. That logger is giving me a trouble. Let's try this again. Got it almost all typed out, and there we go, we got Bradley added. All right. So let me do a quick reset here. All right. Okay. Well, great comments all the way around. A lot of people using batteries, a couple generators. I do want to make one comment about LiPo batteries, and they're really nice. They're small. They hold a lot of power for their size and weight. One of the biggest thing is weight. And I have a website. It's been posted on the Teapot PU's Facebook page there. But it's called batteryhookup.com. And they have batteries for all kinds of stuff. Even if you got, let's see, I have lithium batteries for some power tools, and I have a 40 volt, which it's not really 40 volts, but 40 volt for a weed eater and stuff. Well, those batteries are expensive, and you can go to that website, and they'll have ones, I guess, were either returned or had some kind of, they malfunction somehow or something. So most likely a cell has taken a dump there and not working anymore. Well, you can actually take those apart, and some of them they actually give you instructions on how to do that. And if you have a battery pack, you can replace your bad cells with the good cells in the other one. Most cases, it's usually only one cell that's gone bad. And I'm talking about getting a like 40 volt Ryobi battery pack for like $3 and some odd cents. And makes really good being able to repair some of your batteries instead of tossing them away and spending 40, 60 bucks, 80 bucks, depending on the battery pack, replacing it when all it is maybe a cell or two cells that are bad, and you can replace it pretty cheaply. Let me reset. There is a downfall with the with LiPo batteries. They do not like to be stored at full charge. And in storing, I mean even as a week long. Yet we're using them for a Go box, but the problem is to properly store them, we have to store them at a lower voltage. In the case of these batteries, approximately 3.2 volts per cell, and to extend the life of them, and then they'll charge right up, and you can go from there. So if you're not currently using it often, where you're able to keep a full charge on it, you're going to get short battery life out of it if you can't put it in storage state, and not have to worry about being able to pull it out and use it in an emergency situation. Where a lead acid battery, you're not going to have that problem. You put that on a trickle charger, it stays fully charged, you're good to go. But they're extremely heavy for their size, or for what you get out of them. So that's my 2 cents worth on that. And so I am going to pass it. Let me check one more time. Any additional check-ins? Any additional check-ins before we go back down the list?
Kilo 1, Whiskey Victor Alpha, K1WVA.
Let me make sure I got that call sign. Kilo 1, Whiskey Victor Alpha. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
All right. We have you on the list. If you would like, go ahead and take your turn, and we'll get the second round going here. So K1, WVA, W7AZC. Go ahead and take it away, sir.
Okay, this is K1WVA. The name here is Dave, Delta Alpha Victor Echo. Location is Clarksburg, West Virginia, which is about 90 miles south of Pittsburgh. And as far as backup power, I have a 20 kW standby generator and also a 2K Honda generator, which works very good. So I'm prepared for a power outage here. Nothing solar. I've looked at them, solar panels and the other things that you would need to run a station with solar power. Anyhow, that's all I've got for the net. I located this net on NetLogger, and so this is my first time checking in. This is K1WVA, back to net control.
All right. Thanks, Dave, for joining us, and good to hear you. And we'll go down the list a second time here, kind of more of a 73 rounds, but we still will answer questions. Just a reminder, after the net, we will be moving over to All-Star for the after net party. This is our last week over here on the Fusion side. It's our next week. And again, the All-Star node number is 506450. You can also come in through Echolink, through W7AZC-L, or KD9JSX-L, or through Brandmeister Talk Group 313-5550. That's 313-5550. And then we'll probably have the after net party over here. So my current list again is K4PU, AC4M, N4NT, N7DND, N7BRB, K7PE, WA4RX, W7VBG. Then it goes to KD2PNR, KD1HF, K8UYC, and K1WVA. All right, go ahead, take it away, Mr. Dennis. It's all you.
W7AZC, K4PU. I also, I didn't mention this the first time around, but I also have 2 portable generators. I have a Honda portable generator that the thing just won't die. It just keeps running. It's in really good shape. And I have another one that's got an electric starter with it. It's not quite as good. It's 5,000 watts, so. But anyway, just a little change here. We're going to have weather in the morning when I wake up at the cabin. It's going to be 30 degrees. So somebody didn't tell Mother Nature. She didn't get the memo that this is May. Because 30 degrees is cold. Sean would not appreciate it here. At least not now. Anyway, I'll say 73 to everybody. We'll be posting, coming up soon, we'll be posting some of our progress as we start building the Go boxes. Neither of us are really ready to start actual construction. We're gathering parts and components and designing and redesigning. Obviously, the power box will come first. And I'm about ready to start on the layout of that. But we'll be putting stuff on the Facebook page, so just check back with us. And we'll see you guys on All-Star afterwards. 73 for now. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great day tomorrow. EC4M from K4PU. Take it away, Chris.
Thank you very much. I'm in western North Carolina right now. It's 52 degrees and raining. Yeah, they're claiming to have a light frost tomorrow up where I live at, Tennessee. We'll see what happens. Hopefully nothing. I never heard that before, Sean, about the voltage. I guess that's what happened to my batteries. I was kind of scratching my head like, well, I don't want to do that for it. But anyway, Adam, that was a cool story. Someone paid for your meal for your family and all. That's really cool. And it is a good idea about the generators, not to get one that's gasoline, get one that's propane. That's a superior way of going, for sure. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Adam. Go ahead, N4NT AC4M.
Okay, Craig. Yeah, good to hear you there. I listen to you quite a bit on the QSO America, talking with folks when I'm in the shack, kind of piddling around doing stuff. A lot of times the kids are being loud, and that's why I don't jump in there and talk as much. But used to do the same thing when you guys were on the 700 repeater quite a bit. Anyway, good to hear you, and safe travels out there, buddy. Yeah, I'm looking at. I really like this net because of the technical information in particular, as far as putting it on the YouTube page. Can't guarantee I'm going to be able to every single week in and week out necessarily, but I do want to feature it quite a bit. I've got Echo Link downloaded and got it to where I can connect, and sometimes being able to actually transmit is hit or miss. I had it set to where I could use a radio through it. But anyway, so hopefully next week I'll be able to pick up the net through that. Eventually I want to get a connection where I can or get the equipment to connect to All-Star, because it seems like a pretty good mode, and a lot of people ask about it, and I've got a lot of friends around the world that have that connection. So I'm looking at the equipment for that, and of course then that'll enable me to do the recordings that way as well. We'll just looking to see how it goes. But anyway, the excuse me, the channel is Ham Radio Zone, and you can type that in, or you can type in Teapot and PU's Tech Friday Net, and it'll pull it right up. So with that, I'll be turning it over to N7DND. I'll say 7-3 to everybody. This has been 4NT.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Uh, they been brought up about the generators and the propane, and I don't run regular fuel in my generator. I run blue fuel, which is the ethanol-free fuel. And according to everything I've been able to read, it'll actually last in your generator for a good 2.5 years. You used to think you had to rotate it every 6 months and all this stuff. But with the blue fuel, when I've been able to read it, it'll last for a long, long time. So by the time you convert your generator over to propane, which is probably a $200 bill, from what I've been able to see, it's probably just as easy to use the blue fuel, and you don't even have to use the additives for it. So just a little thought, a little technical thought that I found that works very well. And I do have a generator. So I will go ahead and pass it on down. I'll say 7-3s to everybody. And hopefully I will see you all in the morning. Or to my friend Bill. I'm waving at you, Bill. N7BRB, N7DND.
N7DND, thank you, Gary. I'm waving back. Can't you see me? I've just got done mowing the yard, so I'm not waving too hard. One thing about the nice weather, you gotta keep the yard mowed. Oh, well, I guess that's part of having property. Well, I don't have nothing else to say. Thanks for doing the net, Sean. And welcome to the new people there. And we'll say 73s, and we'll catch everybody tomorrow morning. And I will now pass it over to K7PE. Take it away, Bob. And 7BRB, 73s.
K7PE, Bob, it's your turn. Go ahead, take it away. All right, nothing heard. Over to you, Jim. WA4RX. Your turn. Go ahead, take it away, sir.
Hi, W7AZT, WA4X. Well, thank you, Sean. And good net tonight. Thanks for doing the net as always. And since you gave the specs on those batteries, it's not something that sounds like that it would be good for me, because I have a tendency to let that stuff not charged since I don't use it. I mean, keep it charged up like you're suggesting. So it sounds like it might not be the way for me to go. I better stick with what I got right now, the Marine battery. Allows me to be a little more flexible. So I'll have to consider that. And thanks for bringing that up. I greatly appreciate it. And you can tell Jack I got the wire in yesterday, and I'm still working on how I'm going to string it up in the trees and everything. So still working on that. But I did get the wire in, so we're moving along. So I haven't got anything else more to add, so I'll turn it over to Carl and say 73s to everybody.
K7VBG, this is WA4X73.
Yeah, K7VBG, KD2PNR returning. Okay. Let's see here. I'm not, I saw something I don't think I've ever seen before. I did not see you show up on my Pi-Star dashboard, but I did see you showing up in the reflector, so I'd be curious if anybody else saw that. As far as your burps go, they could be coming from the sending side or from your side. Some of it has to do how well you've aligned your radio with your spot of whatever flavor you have. Various reasons for it, but probably that almost deserves a whole night on its own. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. Nothing else is jumping into my head here. I didn't write any more notes, so you're all lucky on that score. And I will just pass it right on down again to Mike. KD1HF, KD2PNR.
Okay, gentlemen. Yeah, sometimes I can hear it over my hotspot, but not over the YSX. And if somebody gets on the tail of somebody else, it takes a lot longer for the YSX HR200 to pick back up. So fortunately, I can just change a couple of frequencies and I'm on my hotspot. I keep them both going. So very good, 73. Great job on the net. Good information from all, and we'll turn it back up to K8UYC. Go ahead, Jack.
Yeah, okay, thanks, Mike. Yeah, there's all kind of difficulties on, being new to this stuff. And Al, I've been watching the Pi-Star dashboard as well, and there's a number of people that then I went over to the reflector, and they didn't even show up on the reflector. So I'm not sure what all is going on. However, I can hear them, so that's a good thing. Okay, well, sounds good, Jim, about the getting the supplies in for that loop and all kinds of stuff. And that's what we're in the project, okay, of that little timer thing. We're collecting parts. And the parts should be here on the 15th. So that's if they do deliver. And we'll go from there. So with that, we'll say thanks for everything. We'll say 73 on this end, and turn it over to Dave there in Clarksburg, West Virginia, K1W VA, K8UYC.
Okay, Jack, thanks a lot. This is K1WVA. About the anything that additional will add is my standby Generac is natural gas powered. Here in West Virginia, that's the only way to go. That's all I've got for the net. Thanks for allowing me in. This K1WVA. Looks like I'm tail gunner.
All right. Thank you, Dave, and give comments all the way around to everybody. And I believe it was Carl there in Yuma. I do have a question for you, and yes, you can ask any questions you want. We're not limited on a topic on these nets. We're here to try to help each other out. So, are you coming in through voice wide or digital narrow? Or do you even know? Back to you, K7VBG W7AZC. Oh, okay. I was just kind of curious. I have a guy that's coming in through Wires X, and he's not receiving your audio at all. But these digital things don't always work correctly. So, but yeah, when you're on the Fusion here, just make sure you're always in digital narrow. Voice wide, it's kind of hit and miss if it actually hits the repeaters or makes it through the Wires X side of everything. Other than that, the digital burps you get is usually a connection issue, and it's not necessarily yours. It could be somewhere along the way. I have a perfect copy on everybody all night except for my couple. I had one lost connection issue there, but otherwise it's sounding good. And yeah, like I said, we're not limited. So let me double check. Is there any additionals that would like to check in tonight before I close out the net? Any additional check-ins, please come now. All right, nothing heard. And again, I'll be moving over to All-Star and after this net. And oh, yeah, there was another question. The DMR connection. No, that DMR connection is not connected to this room. It is connected to QSO America on All-Star. We do have them separated. It just it's less issues we have without having a whole bunch of stuff cross-linked. But the Brandmeister is connected to our All-Star node there. Let's see. I think I got covered everything on now. So with that, we're going to close down the net. I'd like to thank everyone for participating in our net tonight. Any additional questions, comments, or topic ideas, or you'd like to be net control, please send myself, W7AZC at ARRL.net, an email, or Dennis, K4, Papa Uniform at ARRL.net. Please don't forget the Easy to Hear net tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time on this room, and they start check-ins around 9 a.m. And also Monday night will be the net with no name at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, check-in starting a half hour prior. Again, thanks everybody for participating, and thanks to the Friends of Amateur Radio Group and its members. I'd like to say 73 to everybody. Have a great night. Be safe out there. And I'll be closing down this net at 0101 UTC and returning this room back to normal amateur radio use. Good night, everybody, and catch you on All-Star. W7AZC, and I'll be clear.